Thanks for staying with us. So we have a lawyer, banker, entrepreneur, movie producer. She's recently produced a movie titled The Wait. She's the chairman, founder of Eventsful Limited, a leading events planning and consulting company here in Lagos. Welcome with us, Yewande Zaccheaus.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We'd like to invite our callers at this time because we'd like to hear your thoughts on this. You can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 091-390-76948. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. And the kind of support we can give women who are waiting. And you producers, we'll talk about the movie a bit later. But as a mother who also waited for a period for your daughter to come, I'd like you to talk to us about that period of wait, what you went through, one. And secondly, what mothers can do to support their daughters-in-law who are waiting.
Great. Thank you. Now, my own story was unusual because, as I said to you yesterday, I actually had a child immediately after my marriage. 9 months later, I had my son. So I never expected I was going to be a candidate for waiting. But for some reason, in fact, it was called unexplained secondary infertility because there was absolutely no reason why myself and my husband could no longer have children. And there was no medical reason, and we just couldn't have children. So for me, it was an unusual kind of wait because, yes, I already had a child. But then you see, when you have a desire for something, it's something you want. And it just almost takes over your life if you're not careful. And I think the pressure for me was more a pressure I put on myself because I was like, I don't want to have just one child. I want to have more than one child. And there is nothing more frustrating than waiting for a child because it is the one thing you can't do anything about physically. There's just nothing. Even if you do IVF, everybody knows that there's no technology that attaches even a fertilized embryo to the womb. So it is something that is absolutely, totally out of your hands. And for somebody like me, I grew up being very confident. I mean, I know what I want. I know how to get what I want. So it was a real reality. It was a shock to my sister that this is something I want and I can't have just by doing what I want. So it was a time of deep frustration. It was a time actually of and because every month you're reminded that it doesn't happen. So for as many months, as many years as you wait, you can imagine every month there's that terrible disappointment. And then your hopes are raised again and it's going to be the month. So it's a very, very difficult time. You saw yesterday when we were talking to the women.
But some people would say that, why would you be putting pressure on yourself when you had one?
Exactly.
Others are looking for, they don't even have any.
Exactly.
So how do you explain your desire? Your personal pressure when you already are blessed with one.
Exactly. The thing is, as I said, if you have a desire, you have a desire. Some people have 5 children and they're all girls, and you have a desire
to have a boy.
So if you have a desire, you have a desire. So there's just nothing about it. Yes, of course, I thank God because people say, how come you were the one that wrote a book about this? How come it wasn't those women in your books who waited 24 years?
Share some of those stories with us. Because I'd like to open our phone line for those who have been through this phase to please call in to share their story with us so we can hear. But I'd like you to also share one of the few stories in your book.
I'd like her to address this tweet by Fubara Brown. It says, I remember a friend who used to refer to his wife as a brother because she wasn't pregnant. He used to call his wife his brother. She wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, so those are the things we see. You call your wife a man.
The man of your wife. How?
Should you share one or two stories from your book for us so that we can... The book is called The Room, right?
It's called God's Waiting Room.
God's Waiting
Room. And there are 4 in the series. I'll share one of an aunt that waited for 24 years. And it was a terrible time for her. She said she saw all her children, and I know I can say her name because her name is in the book, Auntie Tinu Okuflure. She's one of my aunties. And it was incredible for her. She saw all her younger ones get married, have children. She said in the book that, she had everything. She had a husband who loved her. She had money. She could, she had houses. She had everything that you said, anybody could want. But she didn't have a child. And that for her was like, if I don't have that child, all this is meaningless. All this doesn't matter. And that is the way, people feel. I suppose for me, because as you say, I did have one child, I was able to get on with my life, get on with my career, do things even while the desire was there. But for people who are waiting, who don't have a child at all, and who have to wait for so many years, it can be so devastating.
Let me take this call from Oladele. Oladele, are you there? Oh, we lost that call. There's this tweet that says, Adeyinka from Adeyinka says, the support we need is for people to treat us normal.
and stop pitying us by uttering words like, we are praying for you, God will do it. So how do you want to be treated? On one hand, people say, people say, don't ask the questions, ignore us. On the other hand, people say, show empathy. So
it is difficult because, you know, that same person can in 1 month feel, I want people to support me, I want you around me. Can that same month feel, just don't talk to me about it? So you see, we just have to be sensitive. We just have to be sensitive to your friends. You have to be sensitive to know. I mean, some people say, look, that typical Yoruba prayer, your soon will come. Some people hear it and they burst into tears. Some people receive it with grace and say, yes, my own soon will come. So I think it's just a matter of sensitivity. And what a lot of people said the books helped them to do was that when you have somebody that you don't really want to be in their face to say, why are you waiting, or how do you feel? You just hand them the book and you don't say anything. And they can read the book and they can be encouraged and all that.
Let me take this call from Esosa. Esosa, are you there? I think our phone lines are having issues today.
So
yes.
Because you had a child.
Yes.
And then you got desperate for another one. That's why I wanted to take. Because I had this conversation after my first child. She was just 2. Just 2, and I had gone to the doctors to see whether I wasn't ovulating again because of the kind of diagnosis. And my husband was like, what is your problem?
Yes.
You don't come up for the category. Please stop dragging me with you. Do you understand?
It's desire.
But I want, I think, aside desire, I just felt that prayer, that they kept saying. And then some people go, there was this my neighbor saying, Auntie, she tore it your head, you know? And I just started worrying again.
Yes.
I worried to the point I had the baby. I was pregnant and we didn't know. No blood test could show, but a scan showed after 52 weeks.
What?
And I lost that baby because I would not listen again. You know, I just could not gather my emotions together. And when I lost that baby, I went home. And that my first child did something. She had sweets from a neighbor. I said, don't eat it. And she said, I'm going to eat it. She's always been like that. I said, you will not eat it. And I beat that girl as if she was the cause of... So I want you to address women who mentally are in that space where they blame people to look within. Because there's a character in the book who did not even know that she was her own problem.
Yes.
To look within and see if it is your desire that is your problem, deal with that desire. Maybe counting that your blessings that you have not been doing, you should start to do it. So that you don't destroy the gifts that God has given you.
Let me take Nkechi's call. Nkechi, are you there? Nkechi? Our phone lines, the devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. Why somebody said something yesterday, and I'd like you to. Somebody said yesterday that regardless of who, that when you die, somebody will bury you.
Yes.
That saying that, oh, my children will bury me.
Yes.
You should like that regardless of when you die or who dies, somebody will bury you. Because we need to use this show to change the narrative. But we make it look as if once you don't have a child, that's it. And we need people to know we can actually honor and value ourselves with or without children. And it's something that we need to talk about. And I really wish people can call in this morning and share their views on this. But going to what Nima said, I want you to rephrase your question.
How do you wait? How do you deal with the pressure you put within? How do you get to that point of gratitude where...
You see, the first thing I think, for the way our society is, a lot of people internalize their pain. And I think that was actually one of the reasons, because as I said to you, I only planned to write 1 book, after. But because the pressure came, people would come and see me, people would talk to me, people would see me on the streets. So I realized this is huge. People need this process. They need this affirmation that you're not the only one. So I think that's the first thing people need to do. You need to find your safe space. Everybody has who may be your safe space. It may be your husband. It may be your mother. It may be a friend. It may be somebody who doesn't even know you that well, so that you're comfortable to sort of just say all the things. So you need to express yourself, because if you internalize that pain, that it was what makes you go and get a child and beat her up for something that was not her fault. That is what makes you attack as a boss your colleagues, or take it out and be the crazy boss in the office, because you're not expressing that pain. So I think for me, and that was why it was so important to show in the movie, the importance of a support group.
Let me take Francesca. Francesca, hopefully our lines will come through. Francesca, are you there?
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please. You're live.
Good morning to her.
Morning.
I think the time of waiting should be a time of gratitude to God. And I am talking from experience. I have a 14-year-old girl, and that means I should have been waiting for like 12 to 10 years. But I tell you, I don't, in fact, there are even times now that I don't remember my period. Once it comes, it comes. If it does not come, it does not come. And to the extent that I've seen people that came to me to tell me that, because I live in a rural area, that somebody said, I have done something with my womb, that is why I don't fear because I have just a child. And which is not true. These are people that don't even know my background, that don't even know anything about me. My mother-in-law's friend has called me a time. I went to check my mother-in-law in the hospital, and her friend was like, I will say this in Yoruba. If it is a daughter's, if it's our own child or our son's wife that has not given birth to another one, she would have sent her back, you know. And in my own mind, I was like, and she was like, anything was why you must have children. So in my mind, I was just like, all thanks be to God. And you call it what to say, it's God that ordained her. And all she said at the end of the day, I just said, thank you, ma. Until today, and I tell people, and I use myself as an example to people that are still waiting. I have word of glory to God, and I do tell people, I don't know much about Tinubu, but the picture I know, I don't think he has children. Look at what he's doing. We have people like that.
Right.
And I think waiting of gratitude is what we inculcate somehow. Because
all right, thank you very much.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes I have one child. I mean, I remember when my daughter was 1 or 2 and some in-law walked past me and said, so when is the next one coming? And I felt like saying, never. I didn't say it to her because you didn't even ask me if I'm happy in the marriage. Why would I want to have another one in an unhappy marriage? So people can make decisions. I know of a woman who she's married. She's made the decision never to have children because there is a mental illness in her family. So she doesn't want to bring up children. But she's married and the husband supports her. And that's why I say Oyibo people. They are the ones that support themselves. It's we African people that will be doing, be looking at your belly. Why? If I see someone who has been married 4 or 5 years and she's not pregnant, I will not even ask. I will not even ask. I think it is insensitive to ask.
Yeah. I sent a message to my girlfriend. I mean, she's my girlfriend who I waited for some time yesterday. After yesterday's intervention, I'd say, you know, I inside me, I'm like, I wasn't there. I won't say I wasn't there for her. I was calling her once in a while. When I remember her in prayer. But I never really had that conversation. I didn't ask her because I just wanted to respect her space. I was having children. It was easy for me. I just didn't think it was right for me to be asking her, how far now? But I sent her a message yesterday. I said, listen, I really apologize that during that period, I didn't start the conversation. I just felt I should respect your space. I do apologize if you feel that I wasn't a friend to you. Because it goes back to what BC said. How do you be a friend to somebody who has her niche? Do you just keep quiet? I was just having her in prayers. So, I mean, she now replied to me and said, Mariah, I was not people that you understand. She knew I was praying for her. That's not a big deal. But the question, therefore, how do you support other women going through this situation? And I'll come to your movie now. Because the movie The Wait had different scenarios of women. Some had the support of their spouse. Some of the women itself were in pain because she had had 5 miscarriages, you know, and it was a legitimate pain. And others were looking for options of surrogacy and all that. What made you write this movie? What made you produce this movie? And what would you like this movie to achieve to help women out there?
Fantastic. As I said to you, the books were written because of this 9-year delay, and I promised God, you know, if I ever have a second child, I will do this to help other women. And as I said, book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. So after I had done the 4 books and compiled them to like a package, I knew I needed to do something more because it was clear that this is a story that, I mean, my daughter is 22 years old now and we're still talking about this. So this is a story that is for life. And I felt the urge to just do more. And I felt a movie would impact a lot more people because also, you know, we don't have a great reading culture, but I think people are, you know, visual images appeal much to them. So I also wanted this movie to showcase, it's inspired by the books. It's not based on anybody's particular story. But what was important to show the things that I have found have been critical to ensuring the eventual happiness of couples. First, unity between the husband and the wife. Wherever, I mean, when you say a man tells his wife, a brother, How can it ever happen in that kind of marriage? There's no love, there's no unity. So I needed to show the men that you must support your wives. You must support your wives against the rest of the world. And those are the kind of men we portray in that movie. Men who are understanding and who support. Then the other thing is the importance of a counseling, of having, you know, it's called the waiting room in the movie, but the support system of other women. And it does not even have to be a faith-based support system, just a support system of people who are of like mind, who are in like pain, who can hold each other up at the time. And then, of course, we showed the typical mother-in-laws. Not all mother-in-laws are bad, but we didn't want everybody to be a goody-goody in the movie. So, you know, so we showed the so that, you know, and what I found, when people, after we had the premiere, people came and said, I never realized that was what I was doing. A lot of people do things in ignorance. A lot of people do things because they are under pressure. That, your son, after 10 years, the wife has not, you better do this, you better do that. Instead of leaving them in peace, instead of just praying for them.
Well, I hate when they tell them to go out and have kids outside.
That's a
I hate
thing.
that.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, because they just feel...
Maybe when you marry, the priest says for better, for worse.
Exactly.
Doesn't he say it?
Exactly.
So whether you can conceive or you cannot,
and
it's
see,
not,
another really
it's not a
important
big deal.
thing is to show people your value is more than bringing forth children. You see, having children is just a facet of your life. We are so multifaceted. So there's so many other things, so many other blessings that God has given you, so many other things you can do.
Let me ask you this. So in the movie, Dr. Nara, played by Nse, mentioned something at the end, which is do not waste the weight.
Absolutely.
So for the benefit of those that are watching, who are waiting on something, how do you not waste that weight?
I'll let you answer that question after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We really like to get in our callers to call in as soon as possible so that you can join the conversation. But before the break, BC asked the question, how don't we waste the weight?
Great. Fantastic question. Don't waste the wait. You see, you don't know how long the wait is going to be. That's one thing. It could be a year, it could be 10 years. So you must live your best life. That is, if anybody says, what advice do I have for waiting women? Live your best life. Because as I said earlier, children are fantastic. We all want them, but they do not make us, they do not validate us as human beings. There's so much more of who we are. There's so much more of the blessing we can be in so many areas. So don't let us, because of that one desire that we haven't had, lock down all the other things where we can be heroes, where we can be stars, where we can be a blessing. You know, whether it's in your work, your career, within your family. So just find, I mean, as Inse always says, find your happy. You must find something within you that gives you joy.
To learn how to be parents. You know, we don't come with a code.
Yeah, so it's just so important. So for me, that's how you don't waste your weight. If you are going to get that extra master's degree, some people say, I can't travel because just in case, I can't get that transfer, I can't do this.
That is all good. But what are those unintentional cues family members give you? You go for weddings. The end on next year. Can you come? Or family members saying, or they just greet you and say, your sister is even getting married next week, or she has her second child, or how far will you now? You know, those little things that people say. Can we begin to talk to each other?
Yes.
How do we manage?
You don't find the right man to marry you. They say, she's a witch.
Biological clock is ticking.
Nobody wants to marry her.
It's something that honestly, by this time, we're in 2021, we really should have got out of this. These were cultural things of the past, when a woman is not validated until she's married. You know, one of the young girls spoke yesterday about how if you're not married, it's as if you're a half person. We have to get over that, and we have to be more understanding. To say that prayer in your heart for that person. Do you understand? Don't be that person that will, every time they see you, they now want to run away because they know that for sure you're going to ask what is happening. She already has that in her mind, you know. So we just need to be much more sensitive as a people.
Let me take Olayinka. Olayinka, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Morning.
Yeah, this topic you ladies are discussing, actually this is my first time on the program.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. My wife is also another follower of the program. Unfortunately, she's not around right now to discuss this issue. Now, this topic you are discussing is very, very germane. I can say I'm in that shoe. I've been married for over 6 years now. And then we have been waiting to have our children. We've done all, everything we needed to do medically. And we were told there was both my wife and my parents. And I thank God for the family that I have. you know, Morario, you could, when it comes to your, I mean, people take from body, you know, when is it happening? You know, I'm the very last one of my family. When is it happening? And you know where you have brothers and sisters and your mom, everybody bombarding you with a sort of question. And to cut it off, my wife is Igbo. My wife is not a Yoruba lady. So you can imagine the kind of situation I found myself and my wife found herself. But, you know, we have been moving on and believing in God. I always tell my wife, look, let's just wait in that situation. That's why they're just trying to kind of, you know, do my best to make sure I'm able to call on the program. Look, we are okay medically. So we don't know why God says it's not yet time.
Olayinka, can you hear me?
Please, yes.
So what do you do when your family now brings some form of pressure on your wife? Do they bring, and if they do bring, what do you do to, you know, to protect your wife, to support her?
They do bring, and each time I tell them, they know the kind of person I am. They call me pastor. Let me just put it that way. They call me pastor. I say, look, when it's God's time, God is going to give us our children. God will give us our children. That is what we believe. That's what I keep telling them. They are asking us to go and adopt. I say, look, I don't need to adopt. When God says yes, He will give us our own children at the due time. He makes everything beautiful.
Thank you very much, Olayinka, for us.
May I add to what you're saying? So a lot of Nigerians are not open to options. So everybody wants to have a wife who, you know, gives birth like the Hebrew woman. It comes when it's time for CS. They see CS as abnormal. You have to push. You must come through that, you know, through your JJ. And then when it comes to having other options, surrogacy, adoption, no, that child cannot, you can never feel because you did not carry, you did not push. How do we start sensitizing Nigerians? That it's okay.
Yes.
Because God has given us the brain.
Yes.
And God has given us everything that we need pertaining to life and godliness. How do we use other options to get what we want?
You see, that was one thing that was very, very important for me to ensure that the movie showed. Now, the thing is that, of course, everybody would love to just get pregnant naturally and have their children naturally, but it's not going to happen. You know, we are adopted children of God, so adoption is an option. We have to first of all understand that. You know, many people, when they go for adoption, they'll still pretend they'll put a tummy in their pillow in their tummy to show them. We need to understand that children can come to us. God can bring children to us through a myriad of ways. So adoption is one that I think is so important, and I believe that, I thank God that a lot of people have to read in my books and seen all those testimonies. Many people are embracing the adoption option. Now, the ones, sorry, can I just say, the ones that people are a bit more wary about is surrogacy, is IVF. In fact, I had one woman accost me on the road one day and said, you have too many testimonies of people who did IVF in your book. You are not allowing women to stretch their faith. I said, have you ever waited for a child? Of course she hadn't. I said, what do you mean they're not stretching their faith? It is even by faith that you can still have children through medical options. Do you understand? So we need to let people release themselves from that bondage of thinking, if I went through a medical, or if I had a section, it was not God, or if I'm adopting, or if it is surrogacy. Some people have even said surrogacy is adultery, because it is somebody else carrying your... You know, we need to expand our minds.
You know, going back to what Olayinka said, which I mean, so Olayinka as a family is saying, I will wait for my own. But what we're also saying that it's good to wait for Olayinka to wait, but at the same time, if your family does then decide for adoption, it's also okay, and society must accept it. So there must be that point where a family says, okay, we'll wait on God, but in the meantime, because one of the things you said yesterday, which was really profound, was that those who waited for maybe 20 plus years, the only thing they say that they wish they adopted years ago.
Yes.
That's the kids that they had, that they wish they had actually adopted years ago.
Because joy, you will not believe it. Ask anybody who's adopted, that joy is the same.
I have a family friend who did.
The interesting thing, the children will look like them.
Yes.
In one funny way. It's always how children will look like them.
I know this couple, they adopted twins. And the one boy, one girl. The boy looks like the father, and the girl looks like the mother.
How does God do that?
You know, just to show you that his ways are not our ways. So he can
Let me take Olayinka from another Olayinka from Port Harcourt. Good morning, are you there?
Olayinkas are raining.
The Olayinkas are raining.
Good morning, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So it's Vivian. Hi, Vivian. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I'm very happy. This is my first time. Yes. I have to deliberately stay at home to watch your program. I'm in a hurry. I want to rush back to my business.
It's okay, go ahead.
Yes, we're talking about waiting.
Yes.
I'm waited, and it's good. Thank you. It's important to let women understand. You know, when you have no waited, we are talking about waiting, people will not understand. A lot of things happen. For instance, where in my own case, my mother-in-law called me up and said, my husband is the first one. The other children have to. That why don't I agree? So that we get a girl and she will conceive, I will carry the children. And I was just 32 years old. So it was very painful. She will arrange women once I come in. They touch my tummy. They will pray prayers that they must. They are even praying. Look at the mirror. They are mocking you. So the only thing I knew is that what really helped me was that even the things they were saying was what fired me up. I decided to go into medical research. I decided to really check. I took out the pressure. I was working. And I wasn't telling anybody about my findings. And at a point, I started seeing their threat as a challenge, as a positive challenge. Because sometimes they don't know, because you are busy, particularly if you are a breadwinner, you don't remember. You just wait, and any day that passes, you don't come back. So that's the aspect. The abuse was there, but I didn't look at it. I moved forward.
Thank you very much.
When I moved forward,
thank you very much, Vivian, for sharing your story with us. You see, another angle we've not talked about is where in the family, the man is the issue. And he refused to get tested.
Yeah.
So the woman has done everything to make sure that, listen, am I okay? We've waited 10 years, and I've endured the family pressure. But you, my spouse, be open enough to get tested and let us even know what the problem is. And the man is insisting because the ego will not allow him to get tested. That's another angle we're not talking about.
It's a very serious one.
It's a serious issue where the pressure is not just on the woman, but the man also feels that internal pressure.
There's an African idea that, you know, you're less of a man if you even express the need to want to go for testing. So let's first of all give a clap to those men who go with their wives and be willing to do a sperm count. Now, say, I got you. And there's also that part of, you know, men knowing that they have a problem and then pretending to their wives and then testing their virility, or what would I call it, somewhere
outside.
else.
Yes.
You will not end up. I have a friend, 9 years, and she kept treating every form of sexually transmitted infection, and she was going for fertility treatments alone. So he led to a divorce, and we didn't blame her. We just sort of held her hand and begged, walk out. Because you knew you had a problem, but your wife was asking you to support her through a problem she thought she had, and you would not give that support. And you were going around testing yourself with every woman. Hey, can you give me child? Can you give me child? Till you brought home every form of sexually transmitted infection to this poor woman. So sometimes, men, we need to ease that conversation around men having those issues as well. Testing for them. And, you know, talking about it. It doesn't mean the end of the world.
So going back to your movie and the importance of talking about this issue, I know the movie's coming up very soon.
Yes, April 30th.
Oh, congratulations. It's your first movie now.
Yes, it is my first movie.
You're an event planner.
An event planner. I keep inventing myself.
So you resigned as MD?
Yes.
You're now chairman?
Yes.
So now the company is on autopilot?
Autopilot with a new managing director.
We'd like to see Nigerian companies, you know, do that. We hardly see that. The chairman is, the member is there.
We're learning, we're growing. When we get there,
it was important to me because, as I've said, as human beings, we're created to do so many things. So I've never let myself be put in a box. That because, I'm a lawyer. I did a master's in Cambridge. So everybody would have thought I would just stay in the law. But, you know, there's just so much about life. I just feel I need to just continue to express myself in all the ramifications that the Lord has given me. And it's important for us to also realize that if you've built something, let other people take over and see what they will do. And I am honestly confident that they will do much better, and they better do because they're my pension plan. Because, you know, they're young, they have new ideas. Because I'm sure I was even frustrating them a bit because I was still a bit so strict, conservative, old school. So now they can fly. So I think it's really important.
Let me take this call from UK. Good morning from the UK. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Morning.
Yeah. I'm called a caller.
Lots of them.
Yeah, I would like to share my experience.
Yes, go ahead.
I got married. My husband is based in the UK, so I was in Nigeria. I was schooling then in Yewande, So when I visited my husband just after 3 months of marriage, I stayed for 2 months. And when I came back to Nigeria, I went to see my mother-in-law. And the first thing she said to me, "Are you pregnant?" So I was laughing. I was like, I just stayed for 2 months with my husband. And to be honest, I don't really think I was pregnant. So later I talked to my husband. I was like, guess what? Mom asked me if I was pregnant. I said, but please don't tell her because I don't know if she was anxious. So my husband, because he now said, oh, you don't need to be worried about being pregnant or not. We are just married for 5 months and it's just 2 months old. You don't need to get worried. Because to me, I called my mother-in-law. I had to be asking my wife for just 2 months to visit if she's pregnant. I never knew my mother-in-law angry about that. Like to her, I speak to you, you went to tell my son. And really, really upset. She owed that against me quite a long time. And a couple of months later, I was based in the UK.
Can't hear her too.
I was permanently pregnant.
Okay, I'm really trying to hear you. It's so hard.
I think
A nasty mother-in-law. I didn't hear. It's a bit muffled.
So her
I couldn't
husband
hear you.
stood up in her defense against his mother, and it wasn't the relationship between the two of them because she blamed her for turning her son against her.
That's typical.
That's like a bit in our movie.
So thank you, for sharing your story. I really, sorry we couldn't hear that clearly. Yes.
Yeah, Yemo just says, I guess I'm lucky with my husband and his family. They support and are still supporting me during this trying period. It's been 5 years of waiting. It's not easy. But I appreciate life for giving me in-laws, especially my mother-in-law. She's been such a blessing to me.
Fantastic.
Zinat says we should all learn to be free and explore. There are a lot of options to any situation. For child issues, early treatment, adoption, etc. Find something meaningful to do during waiting. Free yourself from people who add to your problems. Mommy, I believe the process of waiting serves as a reminder that our journey is not the same as others. So when the society dishes out timelines, we have to ensure we wait with intention and with gratitude to learn why there was the wait in the first place.
The timelines are for themselves. They should dish it out for themselves.
Can I say something just off what she said? That was a fantastic contribution.
Yes.
Because I think with every wait, there is purpose.
Yes.
So I think if we begin to look at it, that there is a purpose in this wait, and you look for that purpose, it makes it easier to bear. I mean, it's not as if I had been told then that you would have to wait 9 years and all that, I would have been excited about it. But then I see the impact, the books, and this movie, which I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would have done. If I did not go through that process of waiting, it wouldn't have happened. So I believe all of us should try and look, what can be the purpose for this wait? What can I learn? What experience can I learn from?
There's also the value you attach to what you wait for. So, Patience, someone says, I waited for 9 years until I had my son. Anytime I look at him, he's more than 7 children to me. My focus and all I see is how to bring him up in the way of the Lord, nurturing him to get the best out of him. And I'm looking forward to seeing him bring forth many children I never had.
You see, that's why I like to bring out the issue of Insa. Insa is happy, joyful. She's working. She's successful. So she's not defined by, I have a child, or I have this procedure, and this. So I think that purpose is, we find a purpose in this. Yes, this has happened to me. And it's an indication to others that you can still find joy, happiness.
There's also the mindset that if you're happy,
if you wait, and then you now go and get pregnant, and then you die during the pregnancy, so you waited to die.
But that happens.
So think about, you see, there's a reason for everything. Yes.
There's this mindset that some people are just Instagram happy. I think we need to remove that. Some people are really genuinely happy. But every time I have met is one-on-one. You will know when you meet somebody one-on-one who is happy, you will know. But I wanted to ask you, so the movie portrayed a supportive husband, especially the one that went to the support group.
Yes, on behalf of his wife.
I would have loved to see more men in that space. Because the truth is, a lot of men do not know how to support, and they need to be it has to be modeled to them how they can support. And also, I think people should get into the space. So everybody has ideas on what businesses to do, how to give back to the society. Can we start having people who create these support groups that you can come in?
That is actually exactly what I'm hoping this movie will do. That is actually why we also made sure that it was a multicultural and multi-faith counseling society, so that just gather some women. Just gather some women. Even during the time of my waiting, I did this a lot. I'd just have a few friends. In fact, I had when I was working in the bank at the time, a few of us that were waiting. During lunchtime, we'd go to the car park, we'd just hold hands, pray for 10 minutes, and one by one, you'll see everybody going on. I mean, we had that in the church I go to. We had a Fruitful Vine fellowship. So every Thursday, women in that space would gather. It's something we need to do. The support is just, I mean, you will hear stories, you will say, mine is not even this bad. You will hear stories that will be, I can do better, and it just makes everybody better.
There has to be a part 2, because I wanted to see.
We're not put the movie out and we're doing a part 2.
There's a part 2, so start writing. I want to see the part of the beer parlogists.
Yes.
So the guy and his friends.
Yes.
And the friends drinking as drunk as they are, still say to him, it might be your fault.
Yes.
Or do you want to go with her? You need to support your wife. Because, and then there's this cultural thing around, Yoruba people will kill me, but it's now a Yoruba thing. That, the way to deal with infertility is to make sure the girlfriend is pregnant before we go and do mommy more. So she has to be pregnant up to 6 months. It's not everywhere, to the point, my children outside wedlock are now celebrated. It used to be abnormal those days, but here, thank God, some people, so is that a solution? I want you to address the cultural part, and I want you to further on the
It's based on family. It's not
culture.
general.
Auntie, a professor of medicine,
let us
told me that if you were my daughter-in-law,
he told Nigeria, because he said it on the show. He said it was very clear. The professor, Papa, we were very, very clear. We know him very well. He said it on the show. So it wasn't a private conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is that...
What did you say?
I didn't call his name. It's Morada.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he said it's on the show.
It's Morada.
That was 5 years ago.
So it was you that called his name.
The requirement per person. So that's per family. But let's not generalize that it's all this culture. But I think we're going to be wrapping up very soon. Now I want to go back to you building this business, movie making, because these are all the successful women now are going into movie making. I'm going to be seeing all your friends, like Ibuka Oshikala, now going into movie making. Is that a new thing, or you just like there's a message you want to just put out into
That's just
movies?
it. Honestly, it's not anything. It's just about a message. And it's amazing when Ibukun did God Calling, executive producer. I was already thinking about, and as you know, we're best of friends. Yeah. I was already thinking about doing this. So I was like, you're doing this, but we're of like mind. If we feel there's a story that will impact lives and impact people, we do everything. We run with it and we make sure it's told. So Bolanle, Mo, Bemi Shashore, all of us that have stories to tell, it's important. And we have been given a platform, and I think it would be irresponsible if we do not use those platforms.
Mariah, we need to hit the studio.
That really.
We have been given a platform.
Yes, you have been given a platform here, so we need to use our platform. You are. That is it.
We need to diversify as well. For some of us that are creative, so in that area.
I mean, to be honest with you, I thought it was going to be a one-off. I was just doing it and say, yes, I owe this. I need to do this, but everybody has told me you catch the bug.
So tell us when the movie's October 30th, right?
No, April 30th. Next week, Friday, all cinemas nationwide. The Wait. I just want to celebrate the actors. I mean, Inse was amazing.
Phenomenal.
You can jump and say, I mean, we've got the cream of the cream. And then my amazing directors. Can I tell you, my directors were male, 2 young males. Yemi Filmboy Morafa and Fini Gambo. Come and stand here. My producer, Tolu Lotana. No, I had an amazing team. It was a privilege to work with. Honestly, Nigerians, we are creative, we are talented. I love my country, I love my people. I mean, the more I do things, I mean, I have these souks, the eventful souks. I work with entrepreneurs in food, in music, in fashion. We are an amazing people.
So you don't intend to run away?
Run away where? I'm just retired from
the business.
Where should they run go?
Nigerian to the core.
Okay, we have to run. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucy.
Okay, why can't I have a British passport?
I don't intend to go anywhere. This is my country. I can't live anywhere else.
Mariah, I want women to go out in groups to see this movie. Don't go with just one person. Take all your friends.
And take a tissue box, please.
Take a tissue box.
Man, buy this movie for your friends. We need men.
And we need the men. The men must watch it. So April 30th.
I won't let you talk because of social distancing, so that I don't talk. So I won't say that. We're all vaccinated anyway.
We are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies. It's been such a pleasure.
I hope a few things that we have. It was quite an emotional screening yesterday.
Yes.
Many of us cried because we're hearing women sharing real life stories. So go and watch the movie next week Friday. Take a tissue box with you. Go with your girlfriends. And at the end of the day, let's learn the lessons.
Exactly.
Support
Most
each
important.
other.
Support each other.
At this time, doing the weights, support each other the best you can.
And have faith
Have
in
a
God.
fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, you can talk.
Oh, wow.